Nectar and a Sieve by Kamala Markandaya. Part 1, Chapter 2. Kunti's child was born a few months before mine, a fine boy who nearly took his mother's life in exchange for his own. Janaki was ill and could not come. Kali was away, therefore I had to do what I could. Kunti's husband went off to fetch the midwife, leaving me with the sweating girl. When she saw who I was, not at once, for she was half crazed with pain, Kunti cried out that she did not want me. "You must go," she kept entreating. "Why?" I said. "Do you dislike me so much, then?" No, but please go. I do not want you here." "I cannot and will not. Besides, there is no one else." "I shall be all right. The midwife will be here soon." "And what will your husband say," I said, "if I leave you here alone?" And I took no more notices of her cries. When she saw I would not go, she grew still and lay like a log, not a murmur from her, but the sweat forcing itself up in oily drops from her throat and temples. Kunti was lying in an exhausted sleep, with her baby beside her, before I went home. It was a whole day since I had left. Nathan was waiting for me, and he said crossly, "You look like a corpse. Whatever possessed you to stay so long?" "Blame the midwife," I said. "She could not be found. Or blame Kunti's son. He took a long time." I was tired, and my voice was on edge. Well, so long you don't forget you are pregnant," he said shortly, and turned away. It was the first time I had seen him angry. Tears came pricking at my eyeballs. I sat down to stop my head from spinning, and after a while the pain went. He means well, I thought. He is anxious only about our child. Better that he should worry than that he should not. From then on, I began to take more care of myself, leaving more and more of the work to Nathan. Sowing time was at hand, and there was plenty to be done in the fields. Dams of clay to be built to ensure proper irrigation of the paddy terraces, the previous year's stubble to be lifted, rushes and weeds to be destroyed. Then the transplanting. All this means stooping, and Nathan would not hear of it. With the leisure I now had, I took up writing again. It was my father who taught me to read and write. People said he did it because he wanted his children to be one cut above the rest. Perhaps so, but I am certain that he also knew that it would be a solace to me in affliction, a joy amid tranquility. So he taught his 6 children, myself the youngest by 10 years, with the patience he brought to all things. "Practice hard," he would say, watching me busy with slate and pencil. "For who knows what dowry will be there for you when you are ready?" And I, with only the thistledown of childish care upon me, would listen lightly and take up my pencil again. "What use?" my mother said. That a girl should be learned. Much good will it do her when she has lusty sons and a husband to look after. Look at me. Am I any worse that I cannot spell my name so long as I know it? Is not my house clean and sweet, and my children are well fed and cared for?" My father laughed and said, "Indeed they are," and did not pursue the matter, nor did he give up his teaching. When my child is ready, I thought now, I will teach him too. And I practiced harder than ever, lest my fingers should lose their skill. When Janaki recovered from her sickness, came to see me, she marveled that I could write. But Kali, who had come too, was scornful of the strange symbols which had no meaning for her, and dismissed it as a foible of pregnancy. "You will forget all about such nonsense when your child is born," she said. "Besides, there will be others, and your hands will be full. Look at me. Do I have one spare minute to myself?" "How is it then," I said, forgetting myself, "that you are here now? Yes, and I have seen you in the village too. If you have so much to occupy you. As for my children, it is for them that I practice writing and reading, so that I can teach them when the time is ripe." Callie sniffed. but she was good-natured and did not take offense. Nathan used to come and sit beside me when I was writing. The first time he came to see what I was up to, he sat in silence with his brows drawn together in meeting. But after some watching, he went away, and when he came back, his face was clear. "It is well," he said, stroking my hair. You are clever, Ruku," as I had said before. I think it cost him a good deal to say what he did, and he never varied his attitude once. That was typical of my husband. When he had worked things out for himself, he would be followed with his... Excuse me. That was typical of my husband. When he had worked things out for himself, he would follow his conclusions at whatever cost to himself. I am sure it could not have been easy for him to see his wife more learned than he himself was, for Nathan could not even write his name, yet not once did he assert his rights and forbid me my pleasure, as lesser men might have done. Now that I did not work in the fields, I spent most of my time tending to my small garden, the beans, the brinjals, the chilies, and the pumpkin vine, which had been the first to grow under my hand, and their growth to me was constant wonder, from the time the seed split to the first green shoots broke through, to the time when the young buds and fruit began to form. I was young and fanciful then, and it seemed to me that they grew as I did, unconsciously, but that each of the dry, hard pellets I held in my palm had within it a very secret of life itself, curled tightly within, under leaf, after protective leaf for safekeeping, fragile, vanishing with the first touch or sight. With each tender seedling that unfurled its small green leaf to eager my gaze, my excitement would rise and mount, winged, wondrous. "You will get used to it," Nathan said. "After many sowings and harvestings, you will not notice these things. There have been many sowings and harvestings, but the wonder has not departed." I was tying the bean tendrils to the wire fence I had built when I saw a quiver of leaves of the pumpkins. The fruit is ripening, I thought. The birds are already here, or perhaps mice. Leaving the beans, I went to look, stooping to part of the leaves with my hand. Why did not the snake strike at once? Was the cobra surprised into stillness that a human should dare touch it? My hands recoiled from the coldness of serpent flesh. My nails clawed at my palms. The leaves I had parted moved back to cover it. For a moment, my legs remained stiffly planted beside the pumpkins. Then the blood came racing to my limbs again, and I ran from the spot, screeching with fear and not looking behind me. Nathan came rushing to me, almost knocking me over, caught and shook me. "What is it? What is it?" he shouted roughly. "A snake!" I whispered, bereft of a voice and breath. "A cobra. I touched it." He looked at me as if I were mad. "Go in and stay there," he said. I wanted only to fall at his feet in terror, to beg him not to leave me alone, but he was staring at me unrelenting. At last I went, cowed, but the waters of panic receding. "The snake had not stirred," Nathan said as he came back. He had cut it into pieces with his scythe and buried the remains so that I should not be upset. "Yet you have lived long enough to learn to disregard them," he said. "Are they not found everywhere? Tree snakes, water snakes, and land snakes? You only need to be careful, and they pass you by." "True," I said, shamefaced yet rallying, but it is one thing to see a snake and another to touch it. I have never touched one before." "Nor again," Nathan said, grinning. I have never seen you fly as fast as you did, child and all." I lowered my eyes, abashed. I was getting very awkward in my movements. I realized that I have looked like a buffalo running in such a frenzy. "Never mind," said Nathan gently. It will soon be over now." He was right. Whether from fright or the running, my baby was born a few days later, a month too soon, but healthy for all that. Callie came as soon as she knew, and the midwife some hours later, but in good time to deliver the child. They placed it in my arms. When I had recovered a little from the birth, in silence, I uncovered the small form, beautiful, strong, but quite plain, a girl's body. I turned away, and despite myself, the tears came, tears of weakness and disappointment. For what woman wants a girl for her firstborn? They took the child from me. Callie said, "Never mind, there will be many later on. You will have plenty of time." It is so easy to be comforting when your own wishes have come true. Callie had 3 sons already. She could afford to sympathize. When I recall all the help Callie gave me with my first child, I am ashamed that I ever had such thoughts. My only excuse is that thoughts come of their own accord, although afterwards we can chase them away. As I had done for Kunti, so Callie did for me, but much more, sweeping and cleaning, washing and cooking. She even took pains to water and garden, and one morning I saw her tending the pumpkin vine, which was overladen with blossom. In that moment, a cold horror came to me again. My hands grew clammy, and I could feel once more the serpent's touch. I shrieked at her then, and she came running, her face frightened at all the wildness in my voice. "Whatever is wrong?" she gasped, running to my side. The baby had awakened and was crying loudly, so that she had to yell. I was so pleased to see her whole, I could not speak for relief. At last I told her, shakily, about the cobra, and rather ashamed by now for making such a fuss. I exaggerated a little, making the snake enormous of its kind, and the danger more deadly than it had been. Women can sometimes be more soothing than men. So now, Callie. "Poor thing," she said. "No wonder you are terrified. Anyone would be. But it is a pity your husband killed the snake, since cobras are sacred." "She is a fool," Nathan said contemptuously when I told him. Why would she have me worship it while it dug its fangs in my wife? Go now, forget it." I think I did, although once or twice, when I saw the thickness of the pumpkin vines, I wondered nervously what might lie concealed there, and then I would take my knife and shovel to clear away the tangle. But when I drew near and saw the broad glossy leaves and curling green tendrils, I could not bring myself to do it, and now I am glad I did not, for the same vine yielded to me richly, pumpkin after pumpkin, of a size and color that I had never saw elsewhere. We called our daughter Irrawaddy, after one of the great rivers of Asia, for of all things water was most precious to us. But it was too long a name for the tiny little thing she was, and soon she became Ira. Nathan at first paid scant attention to her. He wanted a son to continue his line and walk beside him on the land, not a puling infant who would take her a dowry and leave nothing but a memory behind. But soon she stopped being a puling infant, and when at the age of 10 months she called him Appa, which means father. He began to take a lively interest to her. She was a fair child, lovely and dimpled, with soft, gleaming hair. I did not know where she got her looks from. Not from me, nor from Nathan, but it was there, and not only we, but other people noticed and remarked on it. I myself did not know how I produced so beautiful a child, and I was proud of her and glad, even when people pretended to disbelieve that I could be her mother. Here is a marvel indeed, they would say, and make comparisons with ordinary parents who sometimes bore a child of matchless brilliance, or the devout couple who had brought forth a wretch. I preferred to think the plain have their rewards, and this was mine. She is like you, Nathan would say to me as he surveyed her, but he was the only one who thought so. Before long, she was crawling all over the place, following her father into the fields, trailing me as I went about my work, and very soon she began to walk. "You must not allow it so early," Callie said to me ominously, "or her legs will bend like hoops." And at first, I listened to her, and whenever I saw Ira trying to stand up or walk, I would rush forward and pick her up. But soon there was no stopping her. I should have been at it the whole time, otherwise. And I had other things to do. Sowing time was at hand, and I was out all day with Nathan, planting the paddy in the drained fields. Corn had been sown, too. The land was ready. My husband plowed it, steadying the plow behind the 2 bullocks, while I came behind, strewing the seed to either side and sprinkling the earth over from the basket at my hip. When that was done, it was time for our hut to be thatched. It had stood up well to sun and wind, but after the monsoon rains, several small patches showed wear, and it was well to get things done in good time. Nathan cut fronds from the coconut palm that grew by our hut and dried them for me. Together we twisted the fiber and bound the palms, shaping them to the root and strengthening the whole with clay. Ira was no trouble at all. She would sit happily playing by herself in the sun, chuckling at the birds or at anything else she could see, including her fond parents. Or if it was hot and she grew fretful, I would hang a cloth from a branch and put her in it, and she would go to sleep without any further bother. My mother especially grew very fond of her and came to see us often, although it meant traveling several hours in a bullock cart, which is very tiring when one is no longer young. Sometimes I would go to see my parents, but seldom, since there was so much to be done in my own home. My mother, knowing this, she did not reproach me for the long intervals between my visits.